It's a tiny bit cold and I am so happy about it because I am not a warm weather kind of gal. So I'm so excited that it's a rainy, cloudy day. Now that being said, I do have to go to university today, which is not that great, but I decided to do a realistic what I read in a week. As a university student, I go to university 3 times a week. Sometimes obviously that changes, classes might get cancelled, but for the most part that's what happens. So I go Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Today is Monday, so I was actually already supposed to be there, but I didn't go to the first class because it's the week right after like Easter break and I just did not have the motivation to go. So I'm gonna go to the second class, which is more important and it's more important for me to go. But yeah, for now let's go into the second one. That's gonna be fine. So class starts around 20 past 12. I'm hoping that I'm gonna be there at like 12 o'clock, which means that I need to leave my house around 10:30 because it is very cloudy. It's not raining, but usually when the weather is not great, there's a lot of traffic, and I do drive to university because it is an hour away, like driving wise, with no traffic. With traffic it can be 1.5 hours. It's usually 1 hour and 15 minutes, but sometimes it's a bit more. It depends on the traffic. The good thing is that I'm gonna be there for an hour and a half, so it's not gonna be that much time. But I wanted to let you know the book that I'm currently reading. I'm reading it on my Kindle that is charging right now. I'm on page 409. I am 80% through the book and I have 2 hours left of reading. And the book that I'm reading is Slapshot by Chelsea Curta. I'm enjoying it, but I don't know why. I also read Play Along, I think the pink one. I liked it, but both of them kind of lost me for a bit in the middle. Not because I was bored. Well, yeah, because I was bored. I do think that they drag out a bit and they're very long for no reason. I'm very excited though because I feel like they're gonna get traditionally published at some point, and I think that then if they do some more editing and they make them a tiny bit smaller, I'm gonna be picking them up again and rereading them and seeing if maybe I'm gonna prefer them like that. But yeah, so far so good. I'm enjoying it. It's a single parent, like sees a single mother, and she ends up being the private chef for Hudson, which is a character that we see in the previous books, and he's kind of like a golden retriever type of guy. And yeah, I'm just reading it. It's enjoyable, it's fun, but I'm not dying to pick it up, I guess. I don't know what I'm gonna read next. I literally don't have anything else in my mind. I might pick up First Time Color, but I'm not sure. The goal is to finish this book today because obviously I have 2 hours left and I'm gonna be home at around like 3 o'clock. So I feel like I can definitely finish, like I can definitely do 2 hours of reading today. So yeah, that's my kind of update. I'm not gonna be listening to an audiobook in the car because I like to listen to music because I'm going to a place that I'm not happy to be going. I'm not having the time of my life going to university, so I prefer to listen to some music so that I can get a tiny bit more energized, I guess. So yeah, I just want to do the intro for this video. I don't know if I'm gonna read anything before I leave. I need to leave in like an hour. Maybe I will read a chapter, but I kind of want to figure out some computer stuff because I had so many videos that were filmed and were pretty much edited, and for some reason everything is deleted, so I don't know what is going on. So I need to figure that out. I'm gonna probably talk to you later tonight when I will have done some reading done, and hopefully I will have finished Slapshot, which I'm really excited. And I'm really excited for the next books in the series, the next 2 especially. I think that they're going to be, no, the next 3. I think that they're going to be so good, and I'm so excited about every single one of them. I'm back home. It probably doesn't even look like it, but I did in fact go to university and then I came back. But I wanted to give you an update because I did end up listening to an audiobook. I know, I literally said that I don't listen to audiobooks while I'm driving, but I was actually kind of stressed. I was kind of on the verge of having an anxiety attack, so I was like, oh, okay, music is not cutting it. Let me put on an audiobook and maybe that will get my mind off it. And it was actually kind of funny because I chose a random audiobook. I went on my app and I saw what I have saved and what I want to listen, and the first thing that called my name, I was like, yeah, this one. And I ended up picking Let's Call It Truce, and the book literally starts with our female main character being in a bathroom and crying and having an anxiety attack. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I chose very well. But I'm not like a person that gets triggered in situations like this. Like, I don't really get triggered with books, but if I were to get triggered, seeing an on-page anxiety attack is not something that affects me mentally, I guess. It was actually kind of nice because I was feeling similar to her, so it was kind of like she was understanding me, I guess. And also I enjoyed the book so much. It goes straight into the story, which I really love. At first I was kind of confused because essentially our female main character, her husband dies, so she's left alone with her two daughters, and she was a stay-at-home mom. But now obviously in order to provide for her family, she needs to go and get a job. So she goes, she finds the job, and on her first day she runs into Ben, which is our male main character. And at first I was kind of not sure about it, because even though I know that grief is a very personal thing, I didn't love the fact that her husband died 9 months ago, because I thought that, oh, she will start spending time with Ben and she would get in a relationship with him. But that's actually not the case. They have the first run-in, and then the book fast forwards to 2 years later, so we're now almost 3 years after her husband died. And obviously grief is something personal, everyone feels it in a different way, but it's just from my experience I wasn't that comfortable with a 9-month gap. I was still open to it because obviously it really depends on the character and how the character feels, but with her you could tell that she wasn't over it yet, which obviously it makes sense because it's a very just traumatic thing to happen to you and it changes your whole life. But you could tell that she was still thinking about her husband. She was still very much not over the whole situation. She didn't even know how to deal with the whole situation yet, so I didn't think that a romance would be a great situation for that. But now that we are 2 years later, I think that it's going so well. I am loving them. I think that this book is kind of similar to The Hidden Game. The Hidden Game was a very popular book, and then a lot of people were like, oh no, it's bad, it's actually really bad and we don't like it. I read that book probably 2021, something like that, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know what rating I gave it. I don't think that I gave it 5 stars. I think that is like around 4 stars, but I did have a lot of fun with it and I did really enjoy it, and I actually really enjoy the movie. I know that a lot of people have been saying bad things about the movie and that it's very cringy, and yeah, it kind of is, but it's also entertaining, and I'm not saying that it's a masterpiece, but it's enjoyable and it's nice to just have in the background, having a silly little goofy time. So I've been enjoying it for that. It's giving me very similar vibes where it's a workplace romance. They don't really like each other. The first day that they met was not a great interaction, so you just see them acting kind of like childs. I'm gonna be honest, they're acting kind of childish, but I'm enjoying it because I really wanted a very rom-com-y type of book. It's so fun. I'm having such a great time. I cannot wait to keep going. I don't think that I'm gonna continue reading Slapshot today. Maybe I will read a tiny bit, but right now I'm just in the mood for, let's call it a truce, and I'm so excited because I love the fact that they don't like each other. I haven't read a book like this in a long time. I feel like I get why a lot of people would hate this book even though I'm only like 40 pages in, but I can understand why some people would say that the characters are just childish. But I just really like the back and forth, let's be honest, the kind of childish behavior in this situation, because it's not that the characters are childish in their everyday life, it's just that they're childish between them, like with each other, I guess. Is this whole video going to be from this angle? I didn't want it to be like that, but it probably will be, let's be honest. So far I think I have filmed 3 clips and all of them were on this angle, but it's okay. This is where I spend the majority of the day, so it makes sense. But I wanted to give you an update because it's actually the next day, so it's Tuesday. I just got back from university. I wanted to give you an update last night, but it was very late. When I tell you that I stayed up reading until 2 o'clock, I don't know how I'm still functioning, because I also woke up today at like 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. So I'm definitely gonna be taking a nap, but other than that I'm doing fine. I have had 2 coffees, but that's actually kind of like the normal for me. I usually have 2 coffees per day. Anyways, nobody asked for that. I wanted to give you an update about how many pages I read last night. Yesterday, actually, not just last night, although I did read a lot of them last night. Essentially, yesterday I ended up reading 249 pages of Let's Call a Truce. I'm also like listening to 249 pages, but I'm still gonna count the audiobooks because I love audiobooks and I think that audiobooks are reading. So I did read those pages, and then on Slapshot I started the day on page 441, and then I read I think like 2 chapters, so I read up until page 456. So I read 15 pages of that book, which is not a lot, but I feel like I already said this, but I'm not loving it necessarily. I feel like all of the books from this author at some point just reach like a slump, I guess. I don't know, like a point where I get bored and I don't really want to keep going. I'm not in the mood to pick it up. I'm not in the mood to not read it. Like, I want to know what happens, but at the same time, it's not that important to me, to the point where I literally cannot wait to pick it up. But I want to finish that book because the previous one, which was, I don't remember, Playoff? What was the name of the previous book? Power Play. I knew that it had the word play in it. But essentially that book, I reached, I want to say like 70% of it, and then the last 30% took me almost 2 weeks to finish, which is a long time for me. The first 70% of the book, I literally read it in 2 days. I feel like I just get tired of how long the books are and how it reaches a point where the same thing happens again and again, and it feels kind of boring. I still enjoy the writing, so I did read them really fast, which is always a plus, and I do want to finish that book this week, but I'm taking it slow. I'm not trying to push myself to read something that I'm not that much in the mood for, but I wanted to read something physically before I fell asleep, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be listening to the audiobook. Let me just read on my Kindle, because if I kept listening to the audiobook, I would have stayed up until I finished the book. I wanted to finish it so bad. It was one of those like times where you're just like, oh, one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter, and then you're like 5 chapters later and you still want to keep going. I don't know what that book is doing to me, but it's working for me so well. I'm loving it. Yesterday I cried a tiny bit. I didn't like sob, but I did cry a bit. So I don't know what is going on. I'm kind of low-key thinking that it might be a 5-star read. If I do decide to give it 5 stars, I definitely want to pick up the physical copy of it and reread it, like physically reread it. First of all, because I'm listening to it while I'm driving, the majority part. Obviously, yesterday I listened to a bit part of it while I wasn't driving, but I feel like I was still kind of tired, obviously, with not sleeping enough. I'm not my normal self, so I want to maybe reread it at some point so that I can annotate it also, because I do really want to annotate that book, and I'm gonna see if it's actually 5 stars. But so far it's actually giving me the 5-star feelings. I am loving it. I am having all of the emotions. It honestly doesn't feel real, the fact that I have had 2 5-star reads in the past month. Like, that's crazy. And now I might have like a third one. What is going on? I don't understand, but I'm very happy about it. I'm not complaining, even though it does sound kind of like I'm complaining. I'm not. But yeah, that's the update so far on the book. I am almost done with it. Actually, I am on chapter 29. I listened while I was going to school, and I listened on the way back. So I listened to around 50 pages. I don't really listen to it really fast. I listen to it fast while I'm at home and I'm not doing anything, but while I'm driving, because obviously I want to be focused on the driving part, I do listen to it at around 1.5, 1.8, something like that. So obviously I'm not getting through it as fast as I would if I was not driving. I'm gonna keep reading. I'm gonna probably finish one of those books, probably Let's Call It Truce, and then I'm gonna give you an update. Morning. It's the next day. It's Wednesday, actually, which means that it's my last day of university for this week. Like, I think I already told you that I have only Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So today it's also a very short day. I only have one class. I start at like 12 o'clock and I finish around 2, probably earlier than that, which is going to be great. Wednesday is probably my favorite day because I don't really have that much to do, and the class that I have is kind of, it's enjoyable. I like it. The teacher is also really nice. Nobody cares about that. Nobody asked. I wanted to give you an update about the pages that I read last night. I actually did finish Let's Call It Truce, so I read 87 pages of that so that I can finish it, and then I read 31 pages of Slapshot. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that book. I really want to read it today, like finish it, because my Kindle says that I have 1 hour left, so I really want to be done with it. And also today is the last day of the month, so I want to do a wrap up about March and April, and I want to be done with all of the books I'm in the middle of. But at the same time, if I end up not finishing it, it's okay. I don't really care that much, but it would be nice. And then, because I really wanted an audiobook, I really enjoyed listening to Let's Call It Truce, I decided to pick up The Frat Boy by Nikki Sloan. This is the fourth book in the Nashville Neighborhood series. I have read the first, the second, the third, and the fifth. Apparently there's a 6th book. I thought that that series was done, but it's not. I honestly don't know if I'm going to pick up the 6th book. It's not a series that I love. I would say that I enjoyed the 2nd book. That is probably my favorite from the whole series. And then my least favorite is the 3rd book. The 2nd book is called The Pool Boy, and the 3rd book, I think it's called like The Architect, something like that. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series, but I have seen Ellen Catherine saying that she really liked The Frat Boy as a book and it's one of her favorite books. So I really wanted to pick it up, even though I'm not that interested in it. And I was trying to understand why I'm not that interested. And I think that I know. It's about college, and in general, I don't really love reading about college. Yeah, I will read some books, but I try to avoid it, I guess, as much as possible. And it's also a really spicy book. And I know because all of the books in the series are really spicy. This one takes the cake. This is so spicy. In almost every chapter, you have a spicy scene. So if spice is not for you, do not read this. It's a lot even for me at some points, because in the first like 5 chapters, I want to say, there was a spicy scene. So I'm not loving that. I'm much more the kind of person that likes emotions over spice. Spice is nice when there's emotion. And this one's not an emotion because obviously they are adult actors. So they're filming a lot of spicy scenes. But I did have the audiobook for it. So I was like, I'm gonna just listen to it and be done with this series. Maybe I will pick up the 6th book. Again, I don't really know. I don't really understand the plot of it. I don't remember any characters from the other books that felt like they would have like stories. I'm not hating it, but it's definitely not something that I'm enjoying. Did I tell you how many pages of that I read? I read 240 pages. I listened to them. So I am like 60% through the book, so I'm definitely going to be finishing today. The only thing is, because this is a spicy book, I don't think that I can listen to it while I'm driving, so I will probably have to wait until I come back home to listen to it. It's kind of a bummer because the last 2 days I have been listening to an audiobook while I'm driving and it was so fun. I loved it. I don't know what switch flipped, but I'm loving it and I'm definitely gonna continue doing it. Maybe like I will be listening to music too, but definitely will be listening to some audiobooks too. So yeah, but if we add all of those up, that means that I read 358 pages. That's a whole ass book. I am shocked. I don't know what I'm on because usually I don't read that much. Do not take this as this is what happens every week. No. Usually I read like 2 books per week. Lately I have been reading very slowly because I have been very distracted by my phone. But apparently the audiobooks definitely help a lot. And Let's Call It True was a book that I really wanted to keep reading. But I have already read 600 pages in 2 days. That is crazy. Watch me next week be in a reading slump and reading 0 pages every day. It's the duality of life, you know. I have 40 minutes until I need to leave the house, so I'm gonna drink my coffee and then I'm going to get ready and leave. I don't know if I'm gonna read anything. Maybe I'll read like a chapter from Slapshot while I'm drinking my coffee, but other than that, I'm gonna talk to you later. I know that I said that I wanted to finish Slapshot and The Frat Boy yesterday so that I could finish them in April. That did not happen because I fell asleep. I ended up reading 8 pages of Slapshot in the morning while I was drinking my coffee, and then I listened to 36 pages of The Frat Boy, but then I fell asleep because I was very, very tired. I didn't sleep a lot of hours on Monday. I didn't sleep a lot of hours on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, yeah, I did sleep a tiny bit more, but I still did not sleep for 8 hours. And for me, if I don't sleep for 8 hours, everything just got very dark. The sun is back. If I don't sleep for 8 hours, I can feel it and I need to just make up the time. So that was what happened yesterday. I was so tired. I also was not feeling that great, so that did not help. But that's fine because today it's a new day, a new month actually. So happy May. And I do want to finish them today. I want to say that I have around 40 pages of Slapshot left, and then I don't know how many pages I have of The Frat Boy. I have like 90 pages left, I guess. It says that on the audiobook, I think that I have around 35 minutes. Oh no, I have actually 40 minutes left, which is still not that bad. So I'm gonna finish both of those books today so that we can start something new maybe tonight, maybe even tomorrow. I don't actually have anything on my radar that I want to read. I don't know if I'm gonna be picking up a new audiobook, if I'm going to be physically reading something. I'm probably gonna be physically reading something because I will have like a lot of time today and tomorrow. So obviously I don't have university or anything, so I can definitely pick up something physically. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, for now I'm probably gonna listen to the audiobook first just so I can be done with that because I am bored, which is not nice. You wouldn't expect me to be bored from a spicy book. There is no plot, so there's nothing that is keeping me interested in the book. I get it, they're just sleeping with each other and with a bunch of other people. Yeah, okay, sure, have fun, but for me that's not interesting. And you can tell by the fact that I fell asleep in the middle of a spicy scene. I was so bored that literally fell asleep in the middle of a spicy scene, which is kind of crazy to think about. And then looking back to Let's Call It Truth, which is an audiobook that I read in the beginning of the week. I was also tired when I was listening to that, but I wanted to keep going. I wanted to keep listening to it, so I didn't fall asleep. It's boring. It's kind of cringy at points because obviously the whole them trying to create new and fun, spicy scenarios, I guess, that becomes kind of cringy. And then you have the spicy scenes, so how they talk during the spicy scenes, at least the ones that they film, that's also kind of cringy. So I'm not having that much fun, but I do want to finish it, and I have, like I said, 40 minutes left, so I am going to be reading that, and then I'm gonna sit down and finish Slapshot, which I have 40 pages left. I know that I have less than 50 pages, so I feel like I can finish it in an hour or so. I am a slow reader, but I feel like an hour is enough to finish those pages. Maybe an hour and a half. We'll see. I'm gonna start listening to that, and then hopefully today I'm not gonna fall asleep. I finished both of the books. I finished The Frat Boy and Slapshot. I think I'm gonna give The Frat Boy 2.75. It was not for me. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series. There is like a sixth book that came out last month, I think. I don't know if I'm going to continue with it. It was just too much spice that it ended up being very boring. And then with Slapshot, I ended up giving it 4 stars, at least for now. I don't know if I'm going to change it, but I think 4 stars seems right. I definitely cannot wait for the next book. I'm hoping that I'm gonna like it a lot more. So far, my rating goes, the first one was my favorite, the second one was my second favorite, and the third one, which is Slapshot, is my least favorite. So I'm hoping that we're not gonna continue with that, so then like the fourth one is gonna be my least favorite, because that's gonna be sad. I am looking forward to the characters that the fourth one is about. I don't remember the name of it. I'm pretty sure that the name of it is announced, I just don't remember it. But yeah, I'm excited about it. It's coming out at the end of May, so in less than a month, obviously, so I definitely want to pick that up when it comes out. But I didn't love it. I think that it dragged out quite a bit. All of the books in this series have been dragging out a bit. It's just the first one didn't drag out that much because it was a tiny bit smaller, and then the second one also was a tiny bit smaller, so they just keep getting bigger and bigger, but that just makes them worse, obviously, for me. So yeah, I'm done with both of those books and I'm very happy about it. So I decided to pick up another book on my Kindle. Originally I thought that I would pick up a physical book because I have not picked up a single physical book in this reading vlog, which means that I haven't read any physical books this week. I got this urge to read Meeting Millie by Claire Ashton. This is one of the books that I have on my 25 to read in 2025 list. I am not doing great with that list. I am gonna say that. I think I have read 4 books out of the 25, which is not a huge amount. I decided to pick up this one. It takes place in Oxford University, I think, and it's about 2 teachers end up falling in love. It is a sapphic romance, so that's always a plus. I will be honest, I don't really know anything about it. I read the first chapter. For what I can understand, they are friends for a long time. I don't know anything else. I don't know what happened. Could I read the synopsis of it? Yes, I could. Okay, I don't really understand what it's about. It's about Charlotte and Millie. They meet in Oxford University and they become instant best friends. I already obviously read that chapter. And then something happens, they stop talking, and 10 years later, Charlotte is a lawyer, so they're not teachers. I don't know why I thought that they were teachers. But anyways, Charlotte is a teacher, and then she bumps into Millie, who is also a lawyer, and apparently Millie wants to be friends again. That is not sounding that great, but I'm guessing that there's going to be more than that, right? It's a good day when you're having a hard time with a book and you find the audiobook. I'm so excited right now. I started the book and I am on chapter 2 in the middle of it. I literally have read how many pages? 19 pages, which is not a lot. I am 4% in, but the writing is so hard for me to comprehend, which I usually don't have that issue, but English doesn't have any similarities with my first language, which is Greek. Even though I do know English very well, sometimes some very hard words, some words that I don't come across very often, they get a tiny bit harder for me. And if I'm looking up every single word that I don't know in a very hard text, in a very like high vocabulary, I guess, hard vocabulary text, then I'm out of the story instantly. So I was like, okay, I feel like there's no chance, but let me see. So I went on Everend, which is the audiobook app that I use. I love it, if you're wondering. And I was like, let me see if there is an audiobook for this book. And would you look at that? There is. And I am so excited about it because I was kind of scared that I would have to DNF it for a minute, but I wouldn't be DNFing it because it's a bad book. Because obviously, I don't know yet. It might might even be like one of my favorite books once I get used to the writing. And audiobooks usually help me get used to the writing way faster. So I'm very excited. I don't know, I'm probably just gonna listen to it from the beginning, even though I didn't understand what I was reading, but just to kind of get to know the narrators. There's only one narrator. We'll see how it goes, because obviously this is a sapphic romance, so having only one narrator, like female narrator, I feel like that's gonna be kind of hard, because how will we understand the different voices? But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I'm gonna be actually listening to an audiobook. I'm probably gonna be immersive reading them, which is listening to the audiobook while I'm physically reading it, because the vocabulary is a tiny bit harder for my brain. So I think that listening and reading at the same time is going to be the best case scenario. It's Friday. It's the last day of this reading vlog. I don't think that I'm gonna continue it throughout the weekend. So that means that today is the last day of this reading vlog. Yesterday, on Thursday, I read 24 pages of The Frat Boy. So I finished that book. And then I read 43 pages of Slapshot. I also finished that book. And then I ended up listening to 114 pages of Meeting Millie. I think I'm just gonna continue with that audiobook, to be honest, because it's not the easiest book to read. And also I'm still not that invested in the plot, in the characters. I don't know why. So I ended up reading 181 pages in total. Goal for today is definitely to maybe finish Meeting Millie, but I think that on the audiobook I have around 5 hours. Yeah, I have 5 hours and 21 minutes left, so I'm definitely gonna read a good chunk of it today. I also was supposed to get my car serviced today, but now I'm actually gonna do it on Wednesday, so next week. So I was not supposed to have that much free time, but I do have the whole day free, so I'm hoping that I can get a lot of reading done. So far, like I said, Meeting Millie is not anything special, which is kind of sad. I don't know, I was expecting that to be 5 stars, but it's not. Like, we're 100 pages in and I feel like nothing has happened, and I still don't really care about the characters, so I don't know if that's gonna change. I'm hoping that that's gonna change. That's my update. I'm going to start listening to the audiobook while I'm drinking my coffee, and hopefully I'm gonna get through a good chunk of it today so that I can actually give you a good update and talk about the book a bit. I finished the book. I officially finished, what's the name of it? Meeting Millie. And I decided that this is going to be the end of this video. Obviously, like I already told you, I'm not going to continue this video throughout the weekend. So it's officially done. This is officially the end of this reading vlog. I am going to go out right now in like 10 minutes. So for that reason, I thought that it would be better to do like an outro right now, so I don't have to do it later. So like I said, I ended up finishing Meeting Millie, which is a book that I didn't enjoy, which is kind of sad actually, but it is what it is. I didn't hate it, but I think that the romance was not that great, and I went into it thinking that it was like a romance, but I don't even know if I would call it a romance. I don't know, it was so weird. I could not see the romance, and then all of a sudden it's like a switch flipped and they were attracted to each other, and that was the main plot. But before that, the romance was not even a plot and it didn't even start to be a plot until like 60% through the book. So if that sounds like something that you would like, yeah, okay, go for it. But I feel like it wasn't for me, and that's fine. I didn't love the writing also. It was very hard for me to understand. I did understand it, but it wasn't like easy. I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about that book. I'm kind of confused, but that's okay. I'm gonna figure it out eventually. Since I finished that book, it means that I read 307 pages today. That's actually a great number. So let's do like a quick recap. On Monday, I read Let's Call It Truce and Slapshot, and in total, I read 264 pages. And then on Tuesday, I actually read 3 books. So I read Let's Call It Truce, Slapshot, and The Frat Boy, and I actually finished Let's Call It Truce. So in total, I read 358 pages, which is the highest number that I have for this week. And then on Wednesday, I didn't really read that much. I read The Slapshot and The Frat Boy, and I ended up reading 44 pages in total. On Thursday, so yesterday, I finished both The Frat Boy and Slapshot, and I started Meeting Millie, and in total I read 181 pages. And then on Friday, today, I finished Meeting Millie and I read 307 pages. So now I need to see how many pages in total I read. The number of pages that I read this week in total is 1,154 pages, which is a lot. I did not expect that because it's also just Monday through Friday. I still have the weekend, which is crazy to me. Obviously, I'm not gonna read like another 1,000 pages in the weekend, but I feel like I can read 300 300 more. I love doing this video. It was so fun, and I feel like it kind of made me have reading as a priority, and I don't think that I burned myself out on reading this week. Like, I still did a lot of other things, and I definitely fell back in love with audiobooks. I feel like I got into a slump a bit with audiobooks. I wasn't listening to them, and this week I listened to 3 audiobooks, I think. Yeah, I listened to 3 audiobooks and I fell back in love with them. So I'm definitely back on my audiobook kick, and I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait to pick up another one. But yeah, that's this week. I read over 1,000 pages, which is very exciting because I literally Monday through Wednesday I had like a very busy schedule, so it's crazy to me that I read that much, and I definitely think that the audiobooks helped a lot. I found some really good books also, which is amazing, and I'm definitely gonna be doing this again. So I had to say, I hope that you liked this video, and I hope that I will see you in my next one. Bye.
You give me butterflies when you smile, and it feels so good.